Welcome back to Network Africa. The United Nations has released a report saying part of South Sudan is experiencing man-made famine, ethnic cleansing, and is edging closer to genocide. According to the report, human rights violations and abuses have been on the rise since fighting broke out in July 2016. Findings also include details of armed forces targeting civilians in deliberate attacks and starvation. Government forces and other armed groups have been using the conflict as a smokescreen to carry out ethically motivated attacks on civilians, deliberate starvation, forced displacement, and hate speech. However, the government of South Sudan has denied that genocide or ethnic cleansing is on in the country. Khalifa Sall, mayor of Dakar, Senegal's capital, has been placed on custody for allegedly embezzling public money. In an investigation of $2.9 million of missing city funds, Mr. Sall, who was arrested on Tuesday, has been charged with fraud, criminal conspiracy, and money laundering. He denies any wrongdoing and says his arrest is politically motivated. Mr. Sall, who's been mayor of Dakar since 2009, has been widely considered a possible presidential contender for elections in 2019. This is the second high-profile corruption case in Senegal since President Macky Sall was elected into office in 2012 amid popular discontent about corruption. And elsewhere, the EU Border Management Agency Frontex has set up an African base in Niger to tackle the migration crisis. The Border Management Agency plans to step up cooperation with key African countries to curb the flow of migrants. The desert city of Agadez in Niger is a popular way station for migrants attempting to reach Libya and eventually Europe via Italy. Executive Director of the European Border and Coast Guard Agency, Frontex, said the numbers of migrants have increased from 20% in 2016. And here's a sad one now, as at least 3 people have been reported dead after tropical cyclone Inawo made a landfall in Madagascar, causing considerable damage in the north and northeast of the Indian Ocean island. The cyclone, with sustained winds of around 300 kilometers per hour, struck the northeast village of Ampanana and its surroundings around noon. The head of the local weather service said it was one of the country's worst storms in recent years. Okay, our last story for the program takes us to an art painting in Egypt. The Cairo art installation appears to be a mural in red and purple hues of 3 people at a table, but looking intently, their eyes are blinking, indicating they're real humans. The installation, called After Dinner, is Channel Arif, a Cairo-based artist's latest venture into living, breathing art. Arif uses humans and their surroundings as her canvas, creating what at first appears to be 2-dimensional paintings using fluid brush strokes and playing with light and shadows.
Difficult because I apply the same techniques as I would a 2D painting, you know, like a sketchbook. Like, it's the same thing, but on a bigger scale. And so it's like when you look at the person or the model, you're not looking at them as a 3-dimensional person anymore, but I look at them like they're literally a canvas, and I'm just applying the same fine arts technique that I would. I have to say that Egypt is the most inspiring place for me.
It feels nice to be painted on. You're just like a canvas for someone's vision. لا حتى إن just تبقى قاعد ومركز for just keeping a certain mood is really meditative. So everything about it is cool.
Interesting. And that's our show today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Bisi Adebayo.